Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels. We're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do, the usual disclaimers. If you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non for profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic refused, so you know the drill. Please read that article and share on all your social media. Also included is NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever actually does see through with their threat. All right. Trigger warning one, folks. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you do got young children present, please make sure to use the headphones. Trigger warning 2, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We do use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is very much advised. Alright, my last commentation on all the insanity that's been going on for the last month in the world of politics. You remember that line from George Carlin when he told you it's a big club and you're not in it? You might want to start listening. You might want to start listening. Do you remember when Robin Williams said that he wished that the senators were forced, like NASCAR drivers, to wear patches on their clothes of all the different companies, lobbyists, and independent billionaires that donated towards them so we can understand why they make the decisions that they do? Yeah, that. None of these people are on our side, folks. They're riling you up because they know by riling you up, you're going to keep them in power so that they can continue to keep getting more money. Okay? That's it and that's all. These individuals do not care about you and me. Those that do care about you and me will eventually become just like the rest of them. Want to know why I say this? It's because history backs me up. Okay? History backs me up. And to clarify this, there are a lot of people. Israel owns the United States. Israel owns the United States. No, they don't. The evangelicals do. That whole tight knit, we must support Israel no matter what. You want to know where it's coming from? It's not because Netanyahu owns us. It's because the evangelical Zionists, those who scream sola scriptura while preaching dispensationalism, which really doesn't have a real biblical basis unless you want to cherry pick, own the United States and Israel. Okay? You've got a hear me, multi-billion-dollar evangelical empire that have been trying and working and moving people into place to get what they want. The reason why the U.S. has knee-jerk reacted and always backs Israel 100%, no matter what it is they do, look at their donations. Money doesn't lie. Okay? Just say. I want to explain this because a lot of people who didn't grow up in this evangelical culture can't really wrap their brains around it. Obviously, there's political players at play. Now, the political players are playing because they're getting paid to do so by individuals who insist on an interpretation of scripture that is cherry picked as hell. Okay? Just saying. As long as we don't recognize the power that they have and what they're goose stepping us into, things are going to continue to escalate. On the other hand, for the extreme leftists, if you want to know why the middle of the fence people are starting to scoot towards the Republican side, it's because they are just as insane as the extreme right evangelicals. Okay? That's how we got in this mess. One country doesn't own another. The billionaires own us all. All right? And they are manipulating and using us to get their way and using biblical ideological coloring to get their way. All right. Probably pissed off a lot of people in my state. Sorry, not sorry. As with parents of individuals at JRC, we have no reason to doubt the sincerity of the parents who removed their children from JRC. Of course you don't. Sincerity is not what's up for debate here. You can sincerely wish your children well and pave their way to hell because the proper people are not put either in your direction or you are not guided to get the people coming into your direction. Okay? As one researcher noted, these individuals and their families have likely traveled a rough path. Here we go. One of the most annoying things and harmful things on planet Earth is the martyr parent narrative pioneered and used to become a multi-billion-dollar non-for-profit by Autism Speaks. These are individuals that taught parents that they are martyrs. Okay? That it's so hard. And you just don't understand if you don't have a kid like this. Honey, I was your kid. No, you're not. My kid is nonverbal. How dare you speak for them? I'm not. And also, I'm a hell of a lot closer to your kid than you're ever going to be. That is a fact. It's a fact. You know? A person with autism, or as I prefer to call myself, an autistic person like me, is going to have a better understanding of another autistic person than a neurotypical, even if that neurotypical is close to the autistic person. Their teacher, their sibling, their dad, their aunt, their uncle. Because at the end of the day, you're still neurotypical. And at the end of the day, I'm still not, never going to be. Okay? This should be self explanatory. Can you tell I'm tired? Stop with the rough road bullshit. Because you want to know what's tough? Raising kids, period. Period. You are not special. This is something that should have been told to this entire goddamn generation a long time ago, forcefully and repeatedly. You are not special. Raising kids is tough, period. Period. And the difficulties that come along with it are the same difficulties everyone faces to a degree. Maybe your kid might have some additional issues. But to discount that another single parent raising a neurotypical kid who may be going through some tough things and their kid's doing stupid crap and the parent's scared to death that their kid might end up dead, you can't dismiss their stress and their anxiety as lesser than yours. You're not a martyr. You're not special. Stop. Okay? It doesn't just alienate us autistic disability rights activists, it alienates other parents. Stop it. Right? This is how we got to this otherness that we are permanently sealed into. Right? Let's continue. For these individuals, ESDs were not in fact applied as last resort, and their parents reported feelings of coercion from the JRC. In particular, remember the hard sell fucker who told that mom that if she did not sign off on the GED, they were going to go to the court and contest her parental rights? That's not a joke. That's not a lie. They do that. Okay? They do that. And if you are a parent of modest means, how are you going to go about fighting a multi-million-dollar non-for-profit that makes money off of your kids' pain and suffering? How are you even going to fight that juggernaut? You don't have millions at your disposal. For some of them, they're lucky if they're able to see rent. Okay? Especially now. All right? Just saying. It thus appears that at least some parents felt pressured to agree to use the ESDs, and for at least some individuals, alternative treatments were not exhausted. I'd say the majority of the time they were not exhausted. How do I know? Because if you do not get your child a proper full functional behavioral assessment, you cannot then look me in the eye and tell me you've tried everything else and that this was a last resort. That being said, I do very much believe that those individuals around you, especially from hard sell JRC, are going to convince you that it's a last resort. It's in their best interest to do so. They make $258,000 a year ahead off of your kid. It is very much in their and their wallet's best interest to convince you that you've done everything you can and this is the last resort. Okay? It is what it is. I don't doubt that they feel that they've tried everything else, that they've exhausted all other options, because that's what the people surrounding them are telling them. This is why I'm saying us as a mental health field are not doing our own due diligence are seeing through our own responsibilities, particularly to poorer communities and rural communities, to put the proper resources in parents' hands. That's how places like the JRC swoop in, right there in the gap. These parents don't know any better because nobody's out there making sure they have the resources to know better. Okay? We cannot just constantly be pointing the fingers at everybody else and not recognize our own failures and shortcomings. If we continue to do that, once again, nothing gets resolved. We got to get past acknowledging there is a problem and creating an action plan to address the problem. You know what I mean? All right. We're going to go ahead and close out on that one, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. And the few we do tend to get removed from time to time. You know the drill, folks. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I'll see y'all tomorrow because I took the day off. I'm tired. Before we get off here, retailers. We need to have a small talk here. I understand inflation is causing you to suffer a great deal. The answer shouldn't be that every day becomes Black Friday until you exhaust your workers to not even be willing to come in anymore. Okay? It's exhausting and it's obnoxious. But sales are doing bad. We got to find a way to recoup our losses. That shouldn't mean then that that's going to be on the backs of your hourly workers. That suddenly all of a sudden have mandatory overtime and we're still recovering from the big sale from the previous month. For the love of God. We just had Black Friday in July. At the end of August, we're going to have another sale. Into September is going to be back to school sale. October, Halloween and fall. Then we go into real Black Friday again. We're exhausted. You want to know why people don't want to come into work? It's not laziness. It is utter physical, emotional, psychological exhaustion. Now we're going to go ahead and head out. See you in probably tomorrow, folks. Bye-bye.